Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with a Kick. We are here for Matchday 21 for those who don't speak that Espanol. And
not that we do fluently.
I took 3 years in high school. I won't say that I speak no Spanish. I would be able to function at the level of probably like a 6 or 7 year old, maybe. With less vocabulary, better grammar, less vocabulary. That's what I would go with. Maybe.
Yeah, I made it through AP Spanish.
You made it through AP Spanish, even. Wow.
Reading Spanish, I can do pretty well. If I hear you talk in fluent Spanish, no idea what every third word, fourth word, I gotcha. You said perro. All right, that means dog.
That's a dog. Yeah, perro, el perro, core.
Nombre,
name. La discotheque. I think I just said the dog ran to the discotheque. Pretty sure.
Well,
fact check me on that.
Now we've lost 80% of you viewers.
Yeah, all of our English-speaking viewers are like, oh, they're doing a Spanish episode. I'm not going to read the subtitles. Fair. You know what? Fair. If you're going to hear us speak hackneyed Spanish over the course of an entire episode, I would dip too. But guess what?
Adios.
Oh, hey, that's not on the docket for today's postlude. It's not adios today. It's some other language. But we're pulling your leg. This is going to be a regular old episode of English stuff. Ain't no politics, so we don't get squashed by Google again. So, aha.
Now that you just said that, though, they're going to suppress us again.
No. I didn't talk about. I didn't talk about what happened in November. We can't actually joke about it because they may actually suppress us. So, match day 21 coming up here. Tuesday afternoon. We've got our first match. How many times is Man City just going to be at the top of our call sheet here in a row? They can't have another one. I mean, maybe they do. I haven't looked that far ahead. Let's see. What happens on Saturday? Okay, good. Bournemouth heads up the next one. Finally. But Brentford and Man City are first up at G-Tech Community Stadium in Brentford. This one, Man City is making those moves that you were talking about here in the winter window. Last I saw, I hadn't seen that any of them were completed yet, but they're looking for some backup up top. Kyle Walker is planning to walk his way out of Manchester and go international is what I saw. But I don't think it's going to affect this match much. I think that Man City has refound some of their mojo, and they will carry it through as a 3-1 victory.
Let me just change that 3 to a 4. Okay. Yeah, I think that we've refound, especially 8-0 thrashing of the ever-present Salford City in the FA Cup. I think City's got some mojo back. I don't want to say Kyle Walker was the only lagging piece of the team, but I think you kind of know that he could kind of tell his play was not up to par either because he's seeking a move elsewhere. But good for Kyle, get a fresh start to the latter half of his career. I have it 4-1. Had it 3-1, I'll change it to 4-1. I do think they're Brentford not the best clean sheet team against these bigger sides. They've actually kept one clean sheet in the last 7 Premier League games versus City. So I just think it's going to go not swimmingly for Brentford. But as we've seen, this season has been unpredictable. So these are just our best guesses.
Listen, they're our best guesses, and they've been pretty good, especially for you. You're still way up in units on the year. So, I mean, hey, listen, we agree on this, but not perfectly, so you can trust it. Then we move from G-Tech Community Stadium in Brentford to Stamford Bridge in London for Chelsea and Bournemouth, also at 2:30. How do you have this one going?
I think 2-2. I want to give... Again, this is one of those awkward matches where we just had a big slate of matches, then we had the FA Cup, and now we've got more midweek matches moving into more weekend matches. I think this has a classic 2-2 vibe to it.
2-2 vibe. You know, let's see, where was I on that? I disagree. for Chelsea and Bournemouth. Chelsea needs to find their footing. They've been slipping here recently. It's in big what they have 2 points out of the last 4, so not a good look. Here in the last couple weeks, and
Bournemouth is in good form.
Bournemouth is in good form, so this would be a good result for them. And I think they're at home, so that helps a lot. I think this goes 2-0 to Chelsea. And I think that they go ahead and take the high road down to the dugout, because I was going to say back home, but they're already at home. So it's not going to be any sort of thing like that.
Take the high road back to the dugout.
There you go.
It'll stick. It'll be a saying that sticks for sure.
For sure. Hold on. And then for the next one, it is one of our other London derbies. Let's see. This one is considered, I guess this one doesn't actually have a name, but they are both in London. West Ham and Fulham. This one, because it's not West London, because that's like Fulham and Chelsea. But West Ham's on the listed for like East London. So cross-town rivalry. There, we'll call it that. Cross-London rivalry. Unless someone in the comments wants to correct this. There's plenty of correction going on this last episode. So why don't you go ahead and correct this one too? What do you call the West Ham, Fulham, London? I'm sure they appreciate me calling them West Ham and Fulham. That's exactly how you say both those team names. But
it's the pig derby, the pig slaughter.
This might be a pretty good match. I do have Fulham taking it 2-1 though. I think Fulham's just the better side, and West Ham, while they do have an advantage of being at home, I don't think it'll be enough to overcome the form disparity.
Sure. Did not want to go second there because I'm gonna have to change mine again. I think it'll be low scoring. Mm-hmm. I do think the 1 goal difference is probably correct, but I'm gonna go 1-0 Fulham. I think that. You're right, Fulham is the better team. On my little stat sheet here, Fulham are unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League London derby matches.
Wow.
Which, if you want some fun fact for the pub later, it's their longest run without a league defeat against a fellow London side since February 1936 to October 1938.
Wow.
So it's been close to 90 years since Fulham has been this good in their own city. I think it continues. I'm going 1-0 win.
In the interregnum period, I believe is what that would be called.
That all I know is that's pre-World War II. That's all I'm saying. Before the bombs started dropping, Fulham were playing
period?
Good ball.
I don't know. Yes, between the world wars. So, 1-0 to Fulham for you there. For that London derby. And then we will go to Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. Apparently we're supposed to call them Forest as an abbreviation rather than Nottingham because there are 2 teams in Nottingham. All that I could find was Notts County, which doesn't say Nottingham at the beginning. But maybe there's someone I'm missing there. Regardless, Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. How do you have this one going? Top of the table clash here. 3rd place Nottingham Forest versus the leaders in the clubhouse, Liverpool.
I think.
Yeah.
I've been on board with Nottingham for a while. I've said in previous episodes, this is a Leicester City type of run. I think the miracle continues. I genuinely think Nottingham at home, they're on a 6-game game win streak. I think it extends to 7.
Wow.
I think they win 2-1 against Liverpool.
I mean, they already got the hard one out of the way, right? They went to Anfield and beat them. So
1-0.
You know, it's not crazy. I don't think it's a full victory. I think it's drop points by Liverpool, 1-1, which puts them way ahead of schedule for your 1 point per month dropping desire, or 1 result per month, I should say. But I'm looking for an interesting match. They don't have the odds are really in favor of Liverpool, even though Nottingham is at home, which is a disservice to Nottingham. So I think there are definitely units up for grabs in this match here. I just have it as a 1-1, a little bit more conservative than you've got there, and I mean that in like the pick category, not anything political at all. And then we'll move to Everton and Aston Villa. That one moves us over to Wednesday action. Everton, they've brung in their own new manager now. a good old Moyes back in action. Do you think that makes a difference for the squad here? Is he actually officially announced yet, or is it like this weird? This actually would be interregnum period.
Yeah, he's officially announced.
Okay,
which
so first
we
match in
passed
charge.
West Ham. West Ham also hired a new manager, Graham Potter. I personally thought David Moyes was going to be back in the seat at West Ham. Apparently 2 times was enough, but Everton said no, the second time's going to be different. After 14 years absence, he's back. No, I don't think this is going to change anything for me as far as Everton is concerned. They failed to score in 8 of their last 10 Premier League games.
Okay.
And only Southampton have won fewer games and scored fewer goals than Everton. Does David Moyes have the ability to implement his style of play? Absolutely. I'm not saying they're out of it yet, but against Aston Villa, who's a team that already knows who they are, I'm going to go 2-1 victory for Aston Villa. I think he'll bring some spunk and some spark, but I don't think he's going to bring any points yet.
I'm going to go back. I had it as a 3-0 victory for Everton, but that stat about them not scoring in 8 of the last 10 matches really spooked me, okay? I'll be honest. It spooked me. I knocked it down to a 1-0 victory for Everton.
Well, they have – here's another stat for you. They have
don't give me another one. I don't want to change it more.
3 goals, excluding own goals, from 119 shots.
Oh. Well, you know who's just the man to fix it? Yeah. Good old Moyes.
He was always known for his attacking prowess.
Exactly, absolutely. Sure. He wasn't known for holding up play and playing methodically at all. No, Moyes is for the boys, man. That's all I got to say. Moyes is for the boys. 1-0 victory for Everton. I'm pretty sure I have them getting relegated, so I don't know why I'm giving them points, but who cares? Aston Villa's already ruined my predictions for them this season anyways. So we'll just let them continue to suffer. Then we go to Leicester City hosting Crystal Palace. This one, Leicester City, I don't think they have the magic in them. This is a big time match here, to be honest, because it's at the bottom of the table. Crystal Palace, if they drop all 3 points to Leicester, that would, depending on how the other results go, it could move Leicester out of relegation and move Crystal Palace much closer to it. But I do think that them birds come out on top with a 1-0 victory over Leicester. I think Crystal Palace has been disappointing for us in a lot of ways this season. They have not scored nearly as much as we had hoped, but I think they get enough in this one.
Yeah. Crystal Palace are unbeaten in their last 5 away league games. That's important to note. Another important note is Leicester have kept the fewest clean sheets out of any side in the Premier League this season, only 1. I do think, though, this is going to be an important game for them. They know that. You got to get points off the bottom feeders, especially bottom half of the table. I'm going to go 2-2. I think both teams get a couple of goals. They kind of stay true to that unbeaten streak for Crystal Palace. No clean sheet for Leicester. But I think Leicester has what it takes to get something out of this one. But it is starting to look bleak for them if they don't start getting results soon.
Yeah, if they got to get moving if they're going to get anywhere at all. Not a great look for them. And then Newcastle hosts my Wolves. I'll let you start here.
Well, I was doing a little bit of research into this one, and it's my favorite stat I think I've probably ever seen.
Really?
Was following their 2-1 win at the Molineux in September, Newcastle beating the Wolves. They're now looking to complete their first league double over the Wolves since 1905 and 1906. So you talk about, clearly all these players remember that time, and they're pushing for that stat. But I thought that was a funny stat. 120 years, 119 if we're counting seasons, since they pulled a league double. So that plays into me. But obviously, Newcastle also won 4 of their last 6 against the Wolves. Previously, they were actually not too good against the Wolves. They lost most of them. But Newcastle's in extremely good form now. Wolves, I think, are still trying to figure it out. So I think I've got it 3-1 Newcastle.
3-1? Listen, that's fine. Yeah, Newcastle, hottest kid on the block right now. aside from Nottingham, and they've got a much easier opponent this week. Newcastle does take all 3 points at the Molineux. I've got it as a respectable 3-2 though. 3-1 still relatively respectable, but not as much as 3-2. We'll see. I mean, we'll probably give up 3 set piece goals in this one, and we'll be up 2-0 at the beginning. We're going to be up 2-0 at halftime and give up 3 set piece goals in the second half just to break everyone's hearts. That's what I plan on experiencing come Wednesday. And then we move to the
preemptive pain.
Yeah, you always expect the worst. Know what the best could be. Expect the worst. It's going to land somewhere in the middle. And then we move to an Arsenal and Tottenham matchup. Hold on a second. This one would be considered a.
Pretty sure this is the North London derby.
Yeah, that's what I was double checking. Yes, North London derby. North London derby, Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur. And I will start this one off here. This one, I think, because neither of these teams are in. Arsenal's in decent form. I mean, their wins were over, lesser opponents. The best win recently was over Brentford, and that draw against Brighton wasn't exactly great. But Tottenham really needs something here. I mean, they have 1 point out of their last 4, and that was a draw against my Wolves. Yeah, not great. Their last win was against Southampton, so that's barely even a win at this point. And since then, that's their only victory since, what is this? November 23rd when they beat Manchester City 4-0. That's not good. And we got a comment on the last one saying no one's talking about Postecoglou getting sacked. How can you just hear the sentence I said? Your only win since the end of November was against Southampton, and not at least have in the back of your mind some sort of specter of his possible sackage. I mean, it's common sense at this point. You're underperforming where you should be, especially with the moves that you made. You got Solanke in the offseason, right? It was Solanke. Yeah. What have you got to show for it? I think he may have 4 goals this season so far, and has been a relative non-factor in a lot of matches. So I think this one goes 0-0, as a matter of fact. A 0-0 draw, and everyone comes out just like, why did we even show up to this match? It's the middle of January, it's cold, and no one's having any fun.
Wow. I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's going to go 0-0. Tottenham have conceded at least once in each of their last 25 away games against Arsenal since a 0-0 draw in 98-99. That's not boding well. I mean, maybe, it's been a long time. Maybe they will. Tottenham have also won just one of 31 Premier League away games against Arsenal. The last time they won at Arsenal.
Well, hey, I'm not picking them to win anything. I'm not going crazy here.
Oh, I'm just setting it up. Arsenal have won 6 of their last 8 Premier League games against Tottenham. It's not looking good for Tottenham. Nope. But let me tell you, I believe the Spurs will go marching home. Let me tell you, brother. How does the song go? And the Spurs go marching home. They go marching home with a 2-1 victory over Arsenal. They break the streak, and they do it. They win. I think their FA Cup match where they almost lost to National League Tamworth will wake them up. And I think they wake up and they win 2-1. Arsenal's got some injuries. Tottenham actually surprisingly healthy as a squad. I think they take advantage of that. They get an early goal. They assert their dominance. And Postecoglou then says,
You saved me, lads.
Yeah. Maybe even get a contract extension. Who knows? But 2-1 Tottenham, lock it in for the points play.
Listen, Postecoglou,
you be a happy boy, with it. Yeah, don't worry. It's just got to go super well in that North London derby.
That's exactly what he sounds like, obviously. And then we go to Ipswich Town and Brighton Hove Albion there on Thursday. You can go ahead and start this one off here. Do you think them Tractor Boys have a chance?
I think they do. because, Brighton, talk about a team in horrible form.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting draws like no other team in the league. 10 draws. The most. There's no one tied with them. Fulham's pretty close at 9. So is Crystal Palace. But like 10 draws. 4 of the last 4 games they played have been draws, and they lost before that. I think Ipswich at home has a chance to get a draw. I think it's a 1-1 draw. I think it's just try to play to these teams' form. Ipswich, last 2 games, got to win, got to draw. I think they get another draw here. And unfortunately, bump the Wolves down into relegation zone.
Oh, that certainly would. We both picked my Wolves to lose. And guess what? We both picked a draw here as well. Luckily, I picked a 2-2 draw, so you can take this one to the bank.
There you go.
You can take this one to the bank. That obviously it's going to hit exactly for one of us. Watch it be a 0-0 draw instead. But yeah, you've got on the head. I just said that Tottenham hasn't won since November 23rd. Same for Brighton. Against anybody but Southampton. Same for Brighton. They haven't won against anybody since they beat Bournemouth back on the 23rd of November. Since then is a draw against Southampton at home, which is gross. You let Southampton score? Come on. You only scored 1 against Southampton? Come on. And that was when they had peaked in 4th. And since then it's been lackluster, to be kind to them birds. Yeah. I think the Tractor Boys are going to show that they've still got some life in them. Going to hop up into 17th. I just need Everton to continue to be bad so that they can get relegated instead of the Wolverhampton Wanderers and the Ipswichtown Tractor Boys. Because I think we both picked Ipswichtown to stay up, and my Wolves. So that's what
I
we're
had
going for.
Ipswich in like 12th.
Yeah,
so they got some work to do.
Yeah, they got some work to do. That's the wrong piece of paper. And then to wrap up the midweek on Thursday, we have, speaking of those Southampton guys, they go into Old Trafford to play Manchester United. I have this one. Listen, Southampton's bad. We figured this out. They're just trying to not be the worst team ever in the Premier League. We've had, last year we had our Sheffield United, who were very bad. I still think that Southampton's better than them. Just the eyeball test tells me that. But listen, if you can't beat them on points, then I can't really argue for you. It's like when I have to say that Peyton Manning is like the best regular season quarterback of all time, rather than anything else. I can't argue against Tom Brady at this point in the majority of things. But 4-1, I have Manchester United beating Southampton. I just don't think that Southampton has anything in them to stop it.
Yeah, Man U been abysmal as of late. Besides a very convincing penalty shootout win in the FA Cup, they've lost each of their last 3 Premier League home games. The last time they lost that many was February 1934. So
we're just running back a century for everything this weekend.
Yes, we're just churning the clock here this weekend, this midweek. But what a dream. You got to think Amorim is going into this week just walking through a pasture of lilies. He gets to play Southampton.
Yeah.
A team that is historically bad. And Man U, they're not quite as bad as Wolves are, but they have conceded a good fair amount of their goals, 32% actually, from headers. So don't be throwing the ball in there and hitting it with your head, because you're going to score against Man U. I just thought that was an interesting tidbit to throw the Wolves under the bus as well. But
it's not throwing it under if it's true. So,
but anyways, the Saints are not going to be marching. They're going to stay at the bottom of the table. I think they lose 5-0. I don't even think they have the firepower to get a goal. Oof. I think United's going to run crazy on them. Not because United is that good, but because Southampton is that bad.
Yeah.
And Amorim will be jumping for joy, saying how amazing his team is to still be in 12th. But they beat Southampton, so something to hang your hat on.
If they win this one, though, I think we can definitely say that they'll be safe from the relegation talk. I think that you could say that if they can win this one. If they don't, then Convos
if they
be
drop any
abounding.
points here, Amara may get the axe. I mean, if we don't win 4 straight games at Old Trafford,
Even if you did just beat Manchester City away, you did it away. So, like, what does that even matter? All right. Well, that is the action that we have planned here for the midweek. We will be back later this week with the predictions first and then recap. Predictions for the weekend and then recap later on in separate episodes, obviously, because that's how we do it now. Any other points of news that you wanted to hit before we got out of here? Because I know that there was quite a few buzzy bits that occurred in the past 10-ish days.
yeah, not really anything set in stone yet, but a lot of teams are starting to move in the transfer market. We haven't seen a lot of done deals come through yet, but we do know there are a lot of rumors. Nottingham Forest might be getting some people. Liverpool, West Ham need a striker. Potentially might get Nottingham Forest striker. So I don't know what's going to happen, but lots of transfer news could be coming out this week and into the weekend because we're getting to the mid-January push.
Yeah.
If you don't get guys in by mid-January, it's going to be hard to integrate them into the team in a timely manner if you wait till the end. So I think we'll see a couple of teams, buy some players. City are definitely looking at a few players. So just keep your eyes peeled for that.
All right. And we will cover those when they occur. But until then, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side. A la vida.